And then if you look at the Army, it's to fight and win our nation's wars by prompt and sustained land dominance across full military operations. And because of that mission, they come up with these specific projects. And the projects, each of these projects taken together, help the Army meet their mission. So that's sort of the relationship we have between all those. And then each of these projects, as you'll see, gets funded or not approved. So for each project, they do this make or buy decision. You know, they have the resources internally and they can use internal resources to do it, or they have to buy from contractors. And they do that for each project. So the project manager within the government is the one that's making that decision as to whether they can do it internally or have to use external resources. And then if they do decide to buy, the project manager requests money, it becomes part of the agency budget, and all the budget requests for Program 1, Program 2, Program 3 all get merged together so that they produce an overarching agency budget. That agency budget gets submitted to Office of Management and Budget, and then the federal budget takes all these agency budgets and merges them all into the federal budget with certain programs added or deleted if they're not funded. A separate effort is the president's budget. And the president's budget, he or she comes up with their list of goals. What is it that they're trying to accomplish? Anybody know what Trump's main objective is? Just kidding. And we're going to hear about that, right? We're going to hear about the president setting forth his objectives, his goals, at the State of the Union on the 5th, right? We'll hear what those goals are. And then they look at his goals plus the federal budget goals, and they put together, he will look at this federal budget and see which of these programs support his goals, and then the two of those will be put together, and that's the federal budget that gets submitted to Congress. And Congress has all these different appropriations committees that are designed to look at like intelligence or the food supply, all these different agencies, all these different committees, and it gets reviewed, and both the House and the Senate have to agree on it, and then once agreement's been reached, Congress sends the budget back up to the president, and the president, you know, in theory signs it, and we have a working budget. That's how it's supposed to happen. Just thought I'd show it to you in pictures. This in no way reflects reality. Okay, then the individual program manager develops that statement of work of what needs to be done. So this is the program manager. The other person that gets involved is the contracting officer. They work together. While the program manager defines the what, the contracting officer defines the how. And the two of them work together, and they put together something called a request for proposal, this RFP that we keep hearing about, and it goes out, it gets posted on something called FedBizOps.gov, and that's how all of us can see it. Once it gets here, we know it's been funded, it's been approved, and it's going to happen, unless there are extenuating circumstances. So, in extenuating circumstances, the government always reserves the right to cancel a procurement. And they can do it also for an existing contract. And they can do it through a clause called termination for convenience. Whose convenience is it? Theirs. Right. Now, the government doesn't like to use that clause. Why?
Because it's harder to get contractors when they want to do business.
Exactly. The more competition there is, the more innovative solutions they get, the better pricing they get. So they want to not use that. So they really try hard not to use it. But it has to be in every single contract. Even if you read your contract and it's not in there, the government writes that clause into your contract. It's always in your contract. So if a contracting officer forgets to put it in, that clause is always there. And I've only had them use it once on me. And it was a situation with Base Reduction and Closure Act. We were supposed to put in local area networks to all these different Navy bases. And Congress was going through their BRAC initiative where they were closing down certain bases. Well, it didn't make sense for us to put a local area network in when that was the term of art, dating myself. It didn't make sense for us to put that local area network in if they were going to close the base. So that's an example where they terminated for convenience. So the government puts these RFPs out, and then all these different companies decide whether or not they want to bid on the contract. So you can't bid on everything that's available for your product or service. You don't have the resources to do it. So you have to make some strategic decisions as to which ones you're going to go after. So sometimes company A will go after it, sometimes company A won't go after it. That's their decision. Okay. Let me just finish this slide and we're going to switch gears and then I'll give you a break. So the companies who do want to go after the work, they can submit proposals to the federal government. The government evaluates all the proposals and they select a winner, and then the winning contractor actually delivers the products or services. Okay? All right, what I'd like to do now is we'll finish this up in a little bit, but we're going to work on some independent work. So let me just start you off on that, then we'll take a break and you'll come back in and work on this. So, were you able to send this file to people?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Everybody in the class? Or just the remote people?
Just the remote people, because the other folks were here. I can email it to them, but I did print a copy for everybody that's here today.
Sure. It's probably going to be easier for you to work on this online, so if we could send it out to
I'm
us.
sorry, they do all have it. When I sent out that meeting request and email this morning, it was an attachment. I apologize, yes. I thought I did.
I think you and I both need more coffee.
I know, right? I'm waiting for caffeine patches, so I'm just like one here.
So what I'm going to pass out to you is something called a company profile. So in order for you to sell to the government, you have to be really clear about what you're doing. And so we're going to start getting you thinking about what you're doing. So if the four of you want to work together and come up with one, that's fine. Anybody who's working in the same organization, I have no problem with that. People on the phone can do the same thing. But what you want to do is to answer the questions in this, and let me pass this out and talk about it a little bit. Look at them started thinking about beer. We'll never get them back. Okay. So the first part is just some initial information. What's your company name? Who are the people completing the form? What's the role of each of the people in the form, in the company? I just want to get a sense of what perspective are you bringing to this. Where do you have branches? Are you all in one location? Are you in multiple locations? Quick synopsis of what your company does. So you can either provide products and tell me the types of products that you provide, or services, and just a description of what that is. What's your approximate annual revenues? What are your company annual revenues broken down by product and service lines? You don't have to be exact here, but what we're going to do this afternoon is we're going to decide for each of your business lines, could you be considered a small business? And the way the government figures that out is they have something called, and people pronounce this differently, it's the National Association of Industry Classification, NAICS codes. And those codes correlate to the products and services that you sell. So first, you need to think about what are you going to sell in the federal marketplace. And then this afternoon, we're going to look up the NAICS codes for each of those products and services that you sell. And then for each of the NAICS codes, there are two thresholds to decide whether or not you're a small business. One is the number of people that work on that product line for you, and one is the revenue that that product line generates for you. So, and I'm just going to throw out numbers, this is not reality. Let's say, for example, you're a consulting firm. It might be 10 people and $1 million is the small business threshold. Whereas if you're a construction contractor, it might be 100 people and $100 million. So every industry, every NAICS code has a separate threshold for people and revenue to determine whether or not you're a small business, and you have to meet both thresholds. So you could conceivably be a small business in one product line and a large business in another product line, which means you would be eligible for set-aside small business contracts for this product line, but you wouldn't be eligible for small business set-aside contracts for this other product line. Everybody with me? We're going to talk a lot about that this afternoon, but that's why I'm asking you for the information. What type of business are you? LLC, corporation, sole proprietorship, etc. Do you have a system for award management, or a SAM record? So basically this question is, have you ever tried to go after government business before? Because you need a record. It's a free process, but you need a SAM record. So do you have one? What's the total number of people in your company? Do you sell products only? Do you sell services only? Or do you sell a combination of products and services? About how many people do you have supporting each product line? We'll get back to that small business stuff. And split it out for product lines and also service lines. And then later on this afternoon, we'll figure out this NAICS code piece. I'm asking your business start date to figure out whether or not you're eligible for GSA schedule contracts. Do you hold any small business certification? Like, for example, are you veteran-owned or veteran-owned service disabled? Historically black colleges or universities, there's a whole bunch of small business certifications. Do you currently have any of them? Do you have any federal government contracting experience? If so, with which agencies? Do you have any state and local contracting experience? In other words, do you do anything with the state of Virginia? If yes, which agencies? Do you have any previous prime contractor experience? Because you might be able to work with them on federal business. Any previous subcontractor experience where you've been a subcontractor to a prime? Who are the people in this program who are coming to class from your organization? What do you hope to get out of this program? If there's anything that you come in here with a burning need to know, please write it down, just because I want to make sure I cover it. Do you see potential areas of growth for your company or opportunity? You know, have you thought about maybe a different product line or a different service line, like anything like that? If you think about the entire federal government, which agencies do you think are going to buy your products and services? Who do you think needs you? So start thinking about what, and then finally, where do you want to provide these products and services? Do you just want to stay locally to the Southern Virginia area? Are you willing to go to the continental United States? Or are you willing to go OCONUS, which is outside the continent? Is that a word from your past? Outside continental United States, and that's your choice. Okay, any questions about the company profile? Everybody still want to do federal government contracting? Well, it's been a little too long for a break, hasn't it? Why don't we take our break, come back in at 1:15, and Josh will be with you as you, so your objective for the next hour is to work on this company profile. Okay? And then